ordinary. I'm Jessica Moore, past life regressionist, higher self connector, and energy worker. I am here to just bring you information to help you in the best way that I can. Now, there is a new frequency being anchored into our planet, which also ripples out into our universe. So, yes, there is a lot being observed from not just the people on our planet, but the other beings in existing areas in our universe and others that are watching us at this time, because this is a very fascinating phenomena happening. And there are practitioners of past life regressions all over the world that have been reporting this for some time. Now, I will say I do see it in my practice and in my own channeling. And I will say what has come through is the anchoring of this new energy. And what we are seeing is, and when I say we, it's the collective that speaks. So that higher dimensional collective. Now, the anchoring, and pull my notes over here so that I say all that I have written down here. But this new energy, I've talked about it on social media, but too over the past year, that this new energy is being anchored by us around the grid of this world. And we are connecting and becoming more aware of it consciously. As a global population, not everyone is aware that they're taking part in this, but many of us who actually are waking up to the higher dimensions within us and that we are meant for more are starting to recognize that anchoring. And things that you can know that you are a part of this is if you are really waking up spiritually, and you are also realizing where you have perhaps played small, abandoned yourself, and did things for relationships, including in like work that were out of survival, and you had abandoned yourself in order to maintain those relationships, that work, that career, that everything that you built on the outside. And you realize like even the success that you may have had was not nourishing you emotionally and spiritually. And that may have come at a pretty hefty price to you mentally and physically. And not everyone may know it. Some people do express more openly, and some people express more internally and alone. So some people in your life may have no clue how much you really were impacted negatively inside. So these places, these kinds of jobs, relationships start getting ejected out of your life or quietly moved away. Or maybe the office that you worked in closed down. Maybe you were offered, maybe things actually moved in a direction that was positive right away and you were moved to another position. And that, what I've seen with some clients is that, oh, it's not even like the position that you're going to have long term. It's the next step to help you either financially or kind of see the echo of those old relationship patterns with people that where you stayed in places too long that were not meant for you because you were able to hold so much energetically, but you are not meant to do that. You're not meant to abandon yourself in order to hold that space for others and allow them to have their own journey, their own path. And you are now able to move through that and recognize it and also see, hey, when I'm meant for something more, the opportunity that then arises, I can go step into a more authentic version of myself and move in that direction. With relationships, you may see that next relationship, maybe if you're dating, is kind of an echo of what you were dealing with in the past. And if that person is not going to move forward with you, they fall away out of your life. It could be a big or small, just falling away. So these patterns start to surface for you to release them, not because you're moving backwards, but because you are moving forwards. And just like when you're getting a massage or you're doing energy work, like if you have done Reiki, sorry, I have like a hair on my arm, it's driving me bananas. So maybe it's not, maybe it's just a spirit and I'm not ignoring it. So anyway, I am in the moment with you. So here we go. I would say in Reiki, as things come up to be released, you may have an aggravation of an old injury or an old emotion that's stuck in your body that comes up and it doesn't feel comfortable as it's being released. And that's like what a trigger is for you as you decide, I am this new version of me. Sometimes those things you'll have an old relationship wound and pattern that comes up, or something at work that comes up that is an old pattern or wound that comes up to trigger you so that you could say, oh my goodness, I see you. I understand the message now. I release you. I'm this new version of me. I like to use language. Language is limited when we're working with energy because energy is so much bigger and doesn't have language to it. But as humans, it's nice for us to sometimes talk to it, put some language to it, and then move forward so that our conscious mind and our super conscious connection can then start playing in a healthier dynamic in this newer version of us that is allowing more of our higher self to be active consciously in our lives so that we are blending the mental, the physical, the spiritual, all in this incarnation. So, you may be experiencing some of this dismantling in your life, but also feeling like you're in this transition phase of, I feel like a whole new person, but there's still these sticky areas and I'm not quite sure how to move through them. You go through these waves of like, oh, I'm really feeling good about where I'm going, and then bam, and this could happen throughout the day, it could happen throughout the week, and it could be all of the above, mixed into one. So also as women, I'm going to speak to women here because there is the flow of cycles in our month to month, and so as you're going into that luteal phase after ovulation, you go into more of that phase of introspection and release as you get closer to that end of your cycle where you actually release physically. And there's so many beautiful things that happen that sometimes women disregard and or put off as I'm being too overly emotional. I get too angry. I get too PMS is too raw, too hard, and I put that on people, and I don't like that, or I need to retreat. You kind of need to allow these things to surface and allow yourself to be held in this process, because now the version of you that's coming through is allowed to be held in these processes, allowed to be held in who you are becoming, and know that who you are becoming is not who you were. You are not that same person. So where maybe you needed too much attention and it started to wear on the people you were around, or you retreated so much that you went so internal and retreated from everybody, you are no longer that version of you. And these emotions that are coming up, you are allowed to be held, you are allowed to be supported, and you are allowed to move through them because they're coming up to be released. And so as you may feel these waves of emotion and feelings, you're not going backwards, you're going forwards. And these things are allowed to leave. You're allowed to let go of them. So take a little time to rest a little extra. Take a little time to journal, to write, to express yourself, even just like letting it out in the mirror, knowing that you're supported. Say, I am supporting you, self, whatever your name is, and I love you, and just let it out. Be your therapist, because quite frankly, you can do all this. If you need somebody to talk to, find someone who you trust will help you move through it and not stay in this conundrum, and talk through it till it's beaten to the ground, help you move through it. And also not judge you. Okay, so trust in who you are becoming. Also, know that you are part of, and your soul knew that you are part of anchoring in this new energy on the grid. And as your life is kind of going through this transition, you're seeing the dismantling in our physical world. You turn on the news and you can see the dismantling everywhere. We need people who are anchored in this energy. And you may not even be as interested in that stuff anymore. Knowing it's really, really awful, but also knowing that, like, hey, we're also meant for more. We can do better. We can do better. Come on. Here it is. So, if you are resonating with any of this, your soul knew. And so if there were things that are holding you back from that, we're at that threshold now. Around the globe, we're at that threshold where those who are here to anchor in this energy, and people will continue to wake up to that and continue to glow up, as we can say, that you are going to see the dismantling in your personal life and internal life as a means to sweep out that old stuff that is not really the true you, so that you can really come into that true you, that more authentic you, and anchoring in this energy. And you'll feel that higher aspect of you come through more and more, and until it really anchors in. And there's that threshold that you like cross over at some point, and you're like, I am a completely different person. And even when everything else in my external world says, you're not quite there yet, you think, I am there. I am there. You don't need any external validation anymore to tell you you are valuable and you are this new person. And because it was so big, this change was so big, and there was so many changes. This could last what feels like a little while. Remember, time doesn't really exist. It is this marker that we go by as humans, and honestly, it does kind of perpetuate a little anxiety in a lot of people. But listen, you get to that threshold, you walk through it, and you just know. And you have little increments of that along the way, but there's this sudden moment of, oh, everything's going to be fine. And I know it beyond the shadow of a doubt. And there is some echoes of doubts that can come up in your mind, or where you're just more of the observer of it. And so as you become the observer, like, it just kind of echoes and falls away. And with the fear and the doubt, you never need to tell it to go away. You can observe it. You can talk to it. You can say, hey, I see you. What's going on here? Talk to it like you would talk to a person. It is consciousness. And it is consciousness within you that's another consciousness. And we have these, like, little Russian doll of consciousness within us, right? So let that little consciousness speak. Give you a message, and then reminded of the higher expression of you that's coming through and who you are becoming now. And then that can then become the echo of what once was, and you can leave the past in the past and truly move forward in a past life regression. This is where you're anchoring in this new energy really fast and easy, because you can move the judgment away and let the judgment be its little form of consciousness over here. And it can then start to integrate with this higher self, you, that is now integrating. And then you have this beautiful blend that then starts to form in your physical reality, and oftentimes very fast. So as you come out of the session, you then are in a much stronger embodied state to be able to let those things move out of the way. And it may be relationships that then accelerate to its next point, and it could be that next good point. Or if that person's just not there, then it moves into the capacity that it is then to move into so that you can move forward. And you start to be able to move through this with more ease because you are embodying a higher self version of you that is infinite, so we can continue to go and grow and develop. And this is your new baseline of living, of feeling, of you're not going to be that old person anymore. But when you come in, you're surrendering and allowing this process to take place. This is something that is guided by you for you with language that is yours. And it's because it is your higher self coming through. So if you want assistance on your transition into this new embodied state of being, then and anchoring in this energy, then you can sign up for your session with me at higherselfhealsyou.com or click the link in my bio. All right. I hope that you really get positivity from this discussion. If not, it's not for you, and that's okay. You can just let it go. All right. Have a wonderful day.